veterans as a whole changed their opinion of Calvin Murphy now in your second year as adverse to your rookie year?
Well, I like to think so. You know, when you first come into the league, despite your size, you're a rookie, and they look down upon you. But here, towards the end of the year, I think the veterans started showing a little bit more respect for my ability, and consequently, a few of them didn't like to guard me as much as they did at the beginning of the year.
You've always had challenge in front of your life, being so small and being in the game of basketball. But would you rather be a super big freak or 5'9", Calvin?
No, you know, I think being 5'9" is perhaps the best size to be in the world because, you know, you're not playing basketball all your life. You got to go out and mingle in society. And for society standards, I'm an average-sized man, which I think is wonderful.
That's what we want, man. Let's get aggressive on defense and let's get a hand up at people. You'll be amazed how that throws a shot off. Get that hand up and make them shoot over that hand on the outside. Even if you're late, even if you're real late, oftentimes it distracts their attention temporarily. And that's enough to throw their timing off and their shot off. So get a hand.
Calvin Murphy and his Rocket teammates in their new home, Houston, with their new coach, Tex Winter, tonight face an old foe, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Put it in the hole. You play good defense, you get beat legitimately. You make them beat you legitimately, then you help out. Greer and Murphy, you did an outstanding job on Greer last time. I think your offense hurt him some in that you moved a lot, kept him running all the time. He got quite worried about you offensively. See if you do the same thing. But also your defense was good against him. You're body checking him better, you're playing into him better, and you too. In spite of the fact that you may feel like you don't have a chance, go after that shot if they get it up and get the hand up. And with your jumping ability, you'll be surprised how many of them you blocked. You blocked a couple of great shots against a couple of these ball clubs, and you can do it. That's what we want, more aggressiveness on defense. Okay, now let's look for a fast break against this club. I think you can run these guys. Elvin, you fill that outside lane, get down that court. Let's look for a break, but let's play under control. We want that ball moved offensively, man. Ping, ping, ping! In his second year of the NBA, at 5'9" and 165, number 23, Calvin Murphy. Rudy Tom Canada. Rookie, left field. From the University of Houston, this fourth year, number 44, Elvin Hayes.
The move from San Diego to Houston meant the Rockets would play the majority of their home games at the Astro Hall. Tonight, the fans will see one of the most interesting defensive matchups in the NBA, when Murphy, number 23 in the white, defends against one of the men that knows him best, Philadelphia's veteran guard, Hal Greer, number 15.
As far as Calvin Murphy is concerned, when I'm on offense and he's defending against me, that's where he has his main problems in the NBA. I think what Calvin tries to do is he tries to keep me, particularly me, from receiving the ball at all on offense. And he's learning defense. Defense is a tough part of the game, and I'm sure he's doing the best he can do. When Calvin Murphy is on offense, he's a ball player in himself. I used to tell the guys on our team, when Calvin comes down the floor, you better not watch his feet. Because Calvin, he has this tremendous stutter step. He comes right at you, and if you watch his feet, he'll go zip right by you in 1 second. Calvin Murphy, in my opinion, was one of the all-time great in college, and he hasn't hit his peak yet in professional basketball.
In being the smallest NBA player, people tend to think that it's all uphill, but you know, I tend to believe that it's a little downhill going for me also. Being the smallest player in the league presents a problem for my opponent. First of all, if a fella is guarding me who is 6'4", he's having a problem because he may be a little slower than I am, and he has no desire to run around that court all game long, which I do because this is my game. Being smaller, I'm much quicker than a lot of the taller guards in the league, so consequently, I'm getting the jump on them constantly, and this presents a problem for them because to stop me now they have to foul me or get help.
And putting Calvin at the free throw line is like putting points on the scoreboard. But point scoring is one thing, finding the open man another. With the Rocket defense coming up with a tremendous performance, Houston went into the locker room at halftime comfortably ahead by 9.
Murphy's position was real good on a couple of those screens and rolls. I thought the guy ran right over you. Just didn't get a shake on it. What we can do about it. All right, you forward now. Let's try to play make a little more of those. Now here's what's open for you, literally. They're from the center, this 2-pass here, and Elvin right down the gut. That thing is wide open. And off the back door. This guy can step on the back door, and Elvin's fronted. You can pass here, now you can really get it when it's clear. It brings your man with you, see? And when you do, then it's over the top for Elvin, or we make the 2-pass, and Elvin's out of there, cleared area. That's what you ought to be looking for if you want to get that ball inside. We've got to start doing more of this against this pressure.
When on offense, I think my opponents tried their best to make me take that outside shot, and as I advanced towards the basket, they tried to hold me off as much as possible to keep from getting in the middle of their defense. Being manhandled by the bigger guards is perhaps a problem of mine. So I think the 10-foot jump shot inside the key is perhaps the hardest shot for me to get off. As far as them trying to rough me up, being a guard, I very rarely pass through underneath that basket. And I try to make it a point to stay away from the bigger players as much as possible. But here again, I must work harder.
As luck would have it, Murphy's hard work and aggressiveness didn't quite produce the result he expected. All that Calvin ended up with going for a loose ball was a right shoe in his hand and a feeling of frustration. And it was time for Tex Winter to give his 5'9" star a rest.
While sitting on the bench, it's kind of difficult for a player such as myself who's always played every minute of the games, you know, in high school and in college, to come into the pros and have to share time with another player. So what I do, I'm sitting there concentrating on the game, thinking about what I would do in the situation that's happening on the floor right now, getting myself prepared that when my turn to go in the game, I'm mentally prepared to go out there and do the best job I can.
As to the job Calvin's teammates had been doing, with but 9 seconds showing on the clock, they trailed the 76ers by 1. The Rockets had the ball. Egan was the shooter. Tom Jonovich's tip had won it for Houston at the gun, 109-108. The little man's life in a big man's game has its ups and downs.
Well, you know, when you have a new franchise coming in, you know, things start a little slowly, but as you can tell right now,
Calvin's off-the-court moments center around evenings at home. Tonight, the Murphys entertain Rudy Tomjanovich and his wife, Sophie.
And whatnot, and everybody, you know, is treating us real nice, so we really can't complain about that at all.
Yeah, well, what they're trying to do right now is sell the game of basketball to the Texas people, because mainly this is a football state, you know, and that's why we're having all those games like in El Paso and San Antonio and Waco.
Yeah, but I think, you know, like, you know, mainly in any sport, to sell anything, it's got to be like a winning team type thing.
I agree.
And my roommate on the road is a very personal friend of mine. Rudy and I have been rooming since the middle of last season. You know, what you try to do, you know, especially in the pro game where you spend a lot of time, you know, with your roommate, you try to get someone who is the same type of a person you are, you know, has more or less the same habits, and so consequently you can get along, you know, in the room together. And Rudy and I just fit in perfectly, I feel. First of all, I think we're both crazy to the point we like to have a lot of fun, and we're primarily from the same kind of background, two different worlds but the same background. And to show you that, you know, what I think of Rudy and his wife are the godparents for my little girl. And just meeting Rudy has been a great experience for me. You know, it got to the point whereas we are constantly together, not only during you know, our basketball experiences, but off the court we're great friends. We're constantly over each other's homes. We're out to dinner, you know, and we're just hacking around with the families together. And it's just one great big experience for myself, and I'm sure it is for Rudy. Right. If they're planning on beating us, they're going to go ahead and play ball. And I think we're just getting about ready now to make a dent in this league.
When
Now,
not
is
at
that
home
control?
or in
Of course
action,
not.
Calvin
You want
Murphy
to control
spends his
ball.
time
That's
with the
best way to
kids.
control a basketball. There we go. Fingertip control. Now, when I say fingertip control, do I mean simply fingers together like this and fighting that ball? Of course not. How do you want your fingers? You want them spread comfortably on the ball, where you can feel that ball, right? Now, so far, I'm dribbling waist high, fingertip control, all right? Now, what's another rule? A very important one. All right, here's a good one. You don't want to dribble like this, right? Why? Naturally, because if you're dribbling so stiff-legged that you can't make a movement, you're going to lose the ball. You want to be bent comfortably, right? Now, when I say bent, I don't mean down to the point where you're dribbling like so, right? But where you can maneuver, right? Now, you notice how my knees are bent, and I'm able to go any place I so desire, right? Fingertip control, waist high, knees bent comfortably. All right, another rule. There we go. Eye contact. Don't look at the ball. Very important rule. Why? For instance, if we have this tall fellow here guarding me, and I'm looking down at the ball, see what happens? He has a chance to steal the ball away from me, right? So this is what happens. Now you see Now you see this quite a bit in the basketball game. You're so busy watching the ball bounce that you don't know where your opponent is located, you don't know where your teammates are on the floor, and you're not able to get that ball out on a pass. So what do you want to do? You want to look at your opponent. You want to know where he is. Now if he goes after the ball, now you can change your direction, fingertip control, all right, and you can maneuver him for the shot. But if you're so busy watching the ball, right, you don't know where the basket is, and you'll never know where he is. Now, by the time you get ready to shoot, you have to look up to see where the basket is, and now he has a better chance of guarding you, all right? Turn and face your opponent. Now, he is puzzled. He doesn't know what you're going to do. This is what you want to do to become a good offensive ball player, right? Now, I'm going to tell him what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how to get around him, right? I'm going to go to my left on the dribble, all right? Now, he knows what I'm going to do, but does he know when I'm going to do it? Ah, you better be ready.
Hey, Chan.
All right, now we've talked about different forms of dribbling, the rules. Now, there are many other forms of dribbling. Everybody has their own way of dribbling, right? All right, now I say dribble waist high, but a person like, say, Erwin Rowe, who's now with the Knickerbockers, he prefers to dribble high. He feels he has better control of a basketball high. All right? Some people think it's illegal. But here again, in the pros, you can do a lot of things that you can't do in high school or in junior high school basketball. Remember that. All right? So I would prefer to see ball players who are learning to dribble a basketball practice dribbling that ball waist high. All right? Now what I want to do is show you a little ball control when dribbling the basketball. All right? Let me have a defensive ball player here. All right, come on up. All right? Now, this fella's going to be 6'8". I better get him now before he grows. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep the ball away from Grant using different drills, between the legs behind the back, fingertip control, sitting down, standing up. All right? I want you to take it. You primarily see girls twirl over time, but I think it's good to keep shoulders. I started baton twirling before I even started playing basketball. I was 5 years old when I first started twirling. It started by an aunt of mine. My mother had 6 sisters, and they were all majorettes. And it was one of these things that my aunt, Alfreda, decided that she was going to make me a mascot for the high school band. So she started me off twirling, and from there I took it on my own. In the World's Tournament
in New York at the World's Fair. I won the military marching, and I was runner-up in the solo in the boys division.
Twirling two of them used to be fun. Here we go.
"50-year-old Tex Winter came to the Rockets from the University of Washington, and he was the Big 8 Coach of the Year on 4 occasions. Winter is known as a stern disciplinarian. His practices stress the fundamentals, and Murphy's role is an important consideration.
They'll try to trap opportunity in. He'll release and come up and do that. Stay in the backcourt now. Stay in the backcourt. Make Murphy come over. Look over there at Egan. There he is.
When you're working in professional basketball, you're working with the finest physical specimens, I think, in athletics, and I would include all sports. When you stop to consider the rigors of the schedule that these professional basketball players meet, and to do this night in and night out is just expecting far too much of anyone, and yet these guys are such super physical specimens that they seem to do a pretty good job of holding up under it.
Let's go. Let's handle it now. Move. Nice pass, Murph.
Believe it or not, I think one of the weaknesses of the pro game, the pro athlete, is the fact that many of them are not as well versed on the fundamental skills of the game as you would expect.
That's the idea. Don't be careless now when our playmaking.
They've gotten by on their tremendous physical ability, their overpowering physical ability in high school and at the college level, and as a consequence, some of them, not all of them, but some of them really haven't done the job of mastering the fundamental skills that you would expect.
Tear this down. If you don't, you're in trouble.
This does not hold true for all of them, as I say. For example, a little man like Calvin Murphy, the only way he can play the game is to be fundamentally sound in every aspect of the game, and he certainly is. He executes beautifully in everything he does. He compensates for his lack of size with his tremendous quickness and his jumping ability and that terrific desire that he's got to be a pro player.
Four corners. That's it, Calvin. That's it. Red. Good, Murphy. That's the idea. Whip that ball. Ping!
A rare Houston practice ends, and one of the long Rocket road trips begin. The first stop, Chicago, and for Calvin Murphy, a chance to take in some of the sights of the Windy City. That evening in the stadium, the Rockets faced Dick Motta's defense-minded Chicago Bulls, second only to the NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. For Murphy and his teammates, a big game that turned out to be a resounding success. Houston led 24-19 after the first quarter, 56-50 at the half. But Chicago took the lead after 3 quarters of play, 60-58. Then, Calvin took over and almost single-handedly demolished the Bull defense.
I felt that I had to be a little offensive-minded tonight against the Bulls. You know, I've had some fairly good games against them in the past. So what I did, I tried to penetrate in as close as possible and take that little soft jumper, and I was quite successful in it tonight.
The fans saw an outstanding display of ball handling. As usual, Calvin drew the fouls, and as usual was automatic from the line. He went 6 for 6. From the field, a remarkable Murphy performance. He hit on 8 of 11 shots. The Rockets made it look easy, beating Chicago 109-98. For Calvin Murphy, the small man in a big man's game, an impressive 22-point performance.
My future plans extend to the point that I want to do some type of social working, perhaps child psychology. I enjoy very much working with youth because I feel this is where a lot of problems can be alleviated. If someone who the youth perhaps looks up to, a professional basketball player or such, gives a helping hand, this can alleviate a lot of problems in the near future. So this is what I enjoy very much doing, and I hope to do someday. I have no desire to become a coach, and after being in the pros for 10 years, I think that I wouldn't have any desire to do any more traveling to the point where I'm scouting night after night. I think that by this time I'll be settled down to a home life of going to work and coming home to my family each day.
Hurry up! Hurry up! Wait, drive it.